So if you plot out the absolute athletic peak of a forward at the World Cup, the graph almost always drops off a cliff right around age 32.
Yeah, that's really just human biology at work.
Exactly. It's just biology. But for today's deep dive, we're pulling from the latest World Cup match reports and post-game analyses to explore a single historic day that basically broke that graph entirely.
Completely shattered it, honestly.
Right. We want you to imagine the sport's young phenoms putting on an absolute masterclass, only to be totally eclipsed by a 39-year-old playing in his 6th tournament.
The contrast in these recent match reports is just striking. I mean, you had Kylian Mbappe scoring twice for France.
An amazing game.
Oh, incredible. And then Erling Haaland netting a brace for Norway. By all accounts, the data showed peak athletes operating at the absolute height of their physical primes.
Which is what you expect. It's like the next generation of innovators launching this groundbreaking tech, but then the original pioneer casually steps back in and just invents time travel.
That is a great way to put it. Because then Argentina beats Algeria 3-0. And all 3 goals come from Lionel Messi.
It's crazy. The headlines were drafted and ready to go for the new generation, and then that happens.
Right, they had to rewrite everything.
But, winning the match is really only half the story here. The numbers behind those 3 goals fundamentally break how we measure a football career.
They do, because this hat trick brings him to 16 total World Cup goals.
Which ties Miroslav Klose's all-time scoring record.
Exactly, ties the all-time record. Plus, he joins Cristiano Ronaldo as the only other player in the entire history of the sport to score in 5 different World Cups.
Wow. Scoring in 5 different World Cups. But let me challenge how this is actually working on the pitch, because the game hasn't stayed static since 2006.
No, it's changed massively.
Right. International defenses today are faster, they're younger, and far more tactically complex than they were 2 decades ago. So biologically speaking, a 39-year-old shouldn't be physically dismantling them.
No, they really shouldn't be able to.
So how is he pulling this off when his raw physical tools have undeniably degraded?
Well, it comes down to biomechanical efficiency. As a player ages, explosive, fast-twitch muscle fibers are the first things to go.
Right, the sprinting speed.
Exactly. He simply can't out-sprint a 22-year-old defender off the line anymore. Instead, modern sports science has allowed veterans to highly optimize their aerobic base and their recovery.
Which keeps them on the pitch.
Exactly. But the real mechanism is that he's replacing raw acceleration with superior spatial mapping. He's anticipating the play and starting his runs like a full 2 seconds before the defenders even process what is happening.
So it's less about running faster and more about moving smarter.
Precisely.
It's kind of like putting a classic muscle car on a modern track. Like, off the starting line, it can't win a drag race against today's electric vehicles.
Sure.
But the veteran driver knows the track so intimately that they hit the exact apex of every corner without needing to brake. So they ultimately cross the finish line first anyway.
That's spot on, and the tactical tracking data supports that entirely. He's manipulating the defense's positioning to create pockets of space that didn't exist a second prior.
It's just wild to watch.
It is. It's why you see players who used to battle him in his prime, like former France star Thierry Henry, publicly pointing out after the match that the football intelligence on display is just unmatched.
Yeah, former pros know exactly how difficult it is to adapt your game that drastically as your body changes.
It's incredibly hard, because we're talking about a 20-year plateau. His very first World Cup goal was back in Germany in 2006.
2 full decades of performing at the highest possible stakes.
Yeah.
Just constantly evolving the tool set to stay 1 step ahead of biology.
It creates a new blueprint, really. The question is whether anyone else can actually follow it.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway for you today. Considering that massive 20-year gap between his first and most recent World Cup goals and those advancements in sports science we just talked about.
It makes you wonder.
Are we witnessing the new expected standard for athletic longevity? Yeah. Or is this just a pure statistical, biological anomaly that literally will never be replicated? Something for you to mull over the next time you watch a veteran step onto the pitch.